our NXT connected, and we've got NXT, our next tool built. Let's try a few things. Again, bring up the help and scan over some of the things you can do with it. We can initialize the NXT.dat file. We can list all the bricks that it can find. Lots of things here. We can list files, we can play tones, we can delete a file from the NXT. We can read the NXT name, we can get the amount of free memory, we can boot it into Samba mode. There's many options here. You should explore this quite a bit. Let's try one. NXT tool, or NEXT tool dash get name is NXT. Let's try setting the name. Set it to JCH. Apparently did something, maybe. Get name. It worked. And let's change it back to NXT and verify that that worked. Okay, that's good. Let's try a few other things real quick. Free mem 94K. Let's try list bricks, see what we find. This is the brick that we're connected to, and we don't have any others available. List files. There's several files that I've downloaded, executables. Let's see, *sys. There's only one of those, so nvconfig.sys. That's non-volatile configuration settings for the firmware. List modules will list all the firmware modules. As you can see, there's several of them there. Not a whole lot you can do with that. Let's see, also dash device info is one. Alright, that's some of the same things you can see with other options. Dash battery, our battery level 8.3 volts. It's running on a plugged in rechargeable battery, so that's pretty good. Let's see what other options shall we try. Scroll back up here. This we can try this. I don't think this will work, but let's try /iterations equal 5 / refresh rate equal 2000. That didn't seem to work. Double check that. Looks like I had it right, although it was in a lowercase r instead of uppercase R. Let's try changing that and see if it makes any difference. I can't remember if I implemented this or not. Something I may need to go back and fix, but try that again. Try moving the command to the end, see if that makes a difference. Dash battery. And it's still not working, so never mind. I think I was working on that. Maybe just didn't finish it, but okay. Let's see, is there anything else here we need to look at? Definitely try out these options. You can defrag the NXT file system. Alright, I'm going to try a firmware download. So this is something I ran into earlier today. So I've got a copy of the firmware. I renamed it just a short file name, but let's go ahead and try and download the firmware. And let's just see what happens. This is because I'm running on a VirtualBox VM. And so both the host system and the virtual machine are trying to use this particular USB device. And so you may run into this problem where halfway through the download it just quits working. But I've already set up my machine to work properly in this situation, and you'll need to do the same thing, which is basically to have two separate USB filters, because halfway through the firmware download, oh, sorry about that. Let me go ahead and get rid of that. I'm not sure where that came from, but I must have accidentally clicked on it. But halfway through the download, it switches its USB ID when it shifts into Samba mode or firmware download mode. In my case, it works successfully. It's hard to see what's going on under the hood, so I'll try this again. Let's see if I can demonstrate this. So I'm going to show you that right now it's connected as an NXT 06940002. And I've got that filter set up, and then I have a filter set up for the brick when it's in Samba mode. So as I download, it's going to start changing. So it's already gone as a standard NXT. And now it's not yet showing up as a Samba device. Still not showing up as a Samba device. Okay, see, now it's showing up as a Samba device. Did you see that? 3EB6124. 03EB6124. That's the Samba device. So as long as it's in Samba mode, it will show up as that device, and then it's going to shift back. So it's gone away, and it's going to shift back into NXT mode. You see that there? So, whoop, sorry, 0694002. That's right. So if you've set up those two filters as part of your virtual machine definition, it should just work, because it'll grab the USB device away from the host operating system. Let's check, make sure we can verify that it did successfully download the firmware. So we're going to do, and it didn't require two. So if you do it without two separate filters, you'll have to do it. You'll have to issue the command twice after you manually set up the second filter. So I'm just running a few tests here to show you that after the firmware download succeeds, I do have the ability to communicate with the NXT and issue commands like -battery. And then let's just run the firmware download again. Shouldn't need to be repeated. If you haven't set up a USB filter for the device in Samba mode 03EB:6124, then you will have to manually grab the USB device using VirtualBox USB filters, and then you'll have to issue the download again because it will fail. Let's just try -battery, -get name, and see. Okay, that worked just fine. Alright, now I want to show you also the rules file that has the correct configuration. We looked at this before. Let's look at it one more time. And so you can see here there's two separate sections. The first one is the NXT brick when it's properly loaded with the firmware 06940002. And then the second section is when it's in Samba mode, has an ID of 03EB and a product of 6124. A vendor 03EB and product 6124. Okay?